Let's get started. Now, the National Peace Council, with support from some technical experts, is expected to present a working document on a roadmap for disbanding political party militia groups. The technical experts have 4 weeks to aggregate the inputs, and these were the latest from a two-day meeting between the Peace Council, the parties and stakeholders. Kwesi Parker-Wilson has details of a communique issued after the meeting.
The National Peace Council just ended the meeting with the political parties, and let me just read to you the recommendation or the agreement between the NPP and the NDC and also the National Peace Council. Now, it says that the National Peace Council, with the support of the technical experts and with input from the two political parties, represents a working document on a roadmap for the consideration of the parties, taking into account the report submitted by the various stakeholders at the just-ended dialogue on the eradication of politically related violence. This will be done within a period of 4 weeks. And then two, the draft code of conduct designed by the National Peace Council will be considered as one of the deliverables in the presentation of the roadmap. So this is the agreement signed by the NPP and the NDC and also the National Peace Council.
Now, the opposition NDC says the outcome of the two-day meeting is satisfactory. Here's General Secretary of the party, Johnson Asidun-Kitia.
Well, we got a compromise that the Peace Council is free to invite experts, whether they are from NDC, MPP, and then civil society, to be able to develop a roadmap, because we think that the key to the solution is the roadmap. Because as for policy statements that we all want to abolish vigilantism, we've said this millions of times. Each political party has been saying that, well, we don't want vigilantism, we want it abolished. And when we are approaching any election, we sign codes of conduct, make several declarations, and yet still those elections will witness the violence. So it tells you that it doesn't take just public declarations to solve the problem. And from the presentations by experts, particularly from the Chief Imam's office, from National Kofi Annan International and CSOs and other things, it is very, very clear that the problem is bigger than people think. And it is in agreement with our initial position.
Right. Now, let's do some other stories. The Bono East Regional Minister and Member of Parliament for Atibubu Amantin constituency, Kofi Amwakohene, has called on all to put hands on deck to support in the development of the newly created region. Now, he made this call while addressing members of the National Association of Local Government of Ghana, NALAG, at the association's first ever regional conference held in Techiman. JoyNews' Anas Sabit was at the conference, and here's his report.
The first ever Bono East Regional Delegates Conference of the National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, held at the Brunchampim Hall in Techiman, was to elect regional representatives to champion the affairs of the region at the national level. As NALAG prepares towards its upcoming biannual Delegates Conference slated for June this year, there was a need for the newly created Bono East region to have a representative at the Sunyani Conference. Bono East Regional Minister and Member of Parliament for Atibubu Amantin, Honorable Kofi Amwakohene, called on assemblies to adopt strategic means of revenue mobilization as a means of bringing development to the area.
The decentralization policy requires a collective grassroots participation, mobilization and monitoring of human and material resources to enhance local government administration. If the region would move at a faster pace in its development agenda, then we should strategize to improve revenue mobilization of the assemblies, harness the tourism potentials, enhance security, protect our environment, and ensure prudent use of resources. Let us see ourselves as different cogs of a machine and that if one cog fails, the entire machine fails. We should share ideas and best practices among ourselves so that no assembly is left behind.
He also indicated that as a new region, having good roads is key to facilitating the smooth takeoff of the region.
What we have initiated immediately the president visited us was to first get the region connected by our roads. When we have these roads immediately constructed, it means we can interface the districts in the regions and there will be free access to the capital. And then I believe that is the fundamental demand that I've placed on His Excellency, the President. Luckily, he visited us with the Roads and Highways Minister.
General Secretary of NALAG, Mr. Kokro Amankwa, called on members of NALAG to contribute towards government's Ghana Beyond Age policy by first empowering their various assemblies beyond age.
Our president is pontificating that we should see a Ghana which is not a begging Ghana, but Ghana that is taking its own destiny into its own hands. And I think that it is a bold and challenging declaration for all of us to follow. One of the areas that we have identified, or the thematic areas, one is revenue generation. Because if we are saying that Ghana is beyond aid, or Ghana beyond aid, then I must say that Kachima Municipal Assembly is beyond aid. I must say that Atebua Mountain Assembly is beyond aid. I must say that in Cranston South is beyond aid. If we can get to that point, then of course we can say that Ghana is beyond aid.
In his remarks, Chairman of the event and Board Chair for the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, Professor Christopher Amiel Akumfi, urged Assembly members to work diligently towards building the new region.
Our assemblies form the basic unit to governance and to development. In that respect, I urge all assemblymen to work diligently, use resources maximally to bring about development. To those of us in this region, we are grateful that at least NALAG is coming in here to meet our assemblies within the region. It's the first. And we hope that at the conference in Sunyani, due recognition will also be given to this new region. And I have faith in the assemblymen and women that they will be up to the task and that they will help to move the region forward.
At the end of the day, Issa Garba from the Atibuba Mountain Municipality was unanimously endorsed to represent the region at the National Council. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
To the Central Region next, where police say they have retrieved 18 empty cartridges from the scene of a Monday evening highway robbery at Gumwa-Potson Junction. Now, the district commander of Gumwa-Domanase, DSP Paul Ankan, says 8 robbers fled in a vehicle they snatched amidst gunshots after they robbed travelers. Here's the account of an eyewitness who said she was in a vehicle that was shot many times by the robbers.
And suddenly, from nowhere, we saw 2 guys in the middle of the road and they had guns pointing in our direction. So they were signaling, like one of us, the one on the left, like towards the driver, was signaling us to stop, stop, stop. Then immediately I felt like something was not right because there was no barrier. Then I said, "I'm robbers." So the guy sped and all I heard was, it sprayed the car. So I think we were all shocked, and for about 2 minutes we were all quiet because it's a blind van. So they saw the driver and the passenger at the front. So they got them down and asked them to bring their phones and their money. So when another car, like all the other cars started coming, they moved to them. So the other ones in the van also got down and they also, so people started parking and running into the bush. So if you don't know and then you come there, then so there was this car, unregistered vehicle, I hear was going to Olubu. they pulled it, and said they spoke very bad English. The tree was bad. Fasikai mami.
Now, the commander tells my colleague Maxwell Agbagba that police do not have vehicles to effectively patrol that part of the Accra-Cape Coast Highway. He describes that stretch as dangerous.
When we got to the scene, we saw that at least some vehicles had been robbed. A driver who was in charge, Toyota Subaru, together with 15 passengers, had been left stranded. What happened? The vehicle, after robbing, the robbers snatched the vehicle from him and drove towards Accra. Some of the Okada riders at Dominance Junction saw the moving vehicle. They would be chasing. But the robber, sensing danger, veered up the main road and drove towards Dominance Junction, Dominance Township. So when he reached the outskirts of the town, he abandoned the vehicle and ran away amidst sporadic shooting. So this scared the youth. They were able to pursue him to arrest him, but because of the gun, they couldn't near him anymore, and he ran away. When we visited the scene, actually, 18 empty cartridges were discovered. It means that the robbers actually did the shooting. Investigations have started enormously to ensure that those who did that will be arrested. A vehicle was shot at several times with bullet-ready holes all over, but I haven't seen the driver yet. That stretch of road, something which is very dangerous to us. You know, beside the right and the left, there are no settlements, okay? And the place during the night is very dark, very, very, very dark for commuters especially. So police, we are trying very hard concerning our patrols to be on that stretch, but you know, the patrols are inadequate. We always rely on Kaswa patrol team. As for my district, I don't have a vehicle, and this is what I'm working hard to get. You see, if I get a vehicle, I don't have that problem at all. I'll move with my men on that stretch of road every night. I will plead to the general public to at least help us with vehicles if administration is finding it hard to provide.
Now, over 1,000 girls in Asokore Mampong and Kumasi are expected to benefit from child marriage and girl empowerment programs. The UNFPA PPAG initiative will engage girls between 10 and 24 years. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah sat through a consultative meeting which will, among other things, increase quality and the amount of data evidence to inform policy and programming in this area.
Child marriage accounts for over 8% of school dropout of females between 15 and 24 years. Over 38% of girls from 15 to 19 years are reported to have suffered sexual abuse at least once. Poverty and gender inequality, coupled with access to sexual and reproductive health information and services, make many vulnerable. Beneficiaries of the 7-month program will be selected from Kumasi Metropolis and Asokore Mampong Municipality. It's expected to improve the socio-economic and health outcomes of adolescent girls in order to avoid pregnancy as change agents. Anthony Kwabena is Field Assistant, UNFPA PPAG project.
Saying there's child marriage and all that in Ghana, but then how many young girls have been given for marriage over the years? Where are the evidence from the field? So this project as well seeks to generate evidence, that's concrete evidence from the field, in a way to paint clearly the picture of child marriage and the girls' empowerment in the country. So basically that will be the objectives or the focus of the project.
Stakeholders, among other things, identified Islamic religious leaders as crucial in the elimination of child marriage.
Those of us here, we have the Muslim community. We have stakeholders like assemblymen here. Unfortunately, we don't have assemblywomen here. We have assemblymen here. We have parents here. So bringing all these people on board, and because they are in the community, some of them are Muslims, and the Muslims tend to understand them more. They'll get to listen to whatever they comes out with.
You cannot talk about someone giving out his girl child for marriage. You can't talk about it. But if we have an organization such as PPAG coming in, collaborating with organizations or institutions such as ours to educate the people out there, I think it's refreshing.
For me, for one, I feel that there's been a lot of sensitization. Now we need to get to the level where there are a lot of debates, a healthy debate, effective communication to get people to understand that yes, the issue of child marriage is causing a lot more harm than good. Let's see how we can empower girls more strategically. And then the other part where I get to understand that there's going to be a lot of livelihood empowerment where we come
Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
There you go. That's it for the news. Of course, coming up is the newspaper headlines. Mama V joins me for that. And then, of course, the show unfolds before your very eyes. So much to talk about, including this morning's security tips on Security Week. And it's all about kidnapping. If it's something that bothers you, you're worried about your children's safety or even your own, don't miss it. We're back after these.